Day mornings at 6.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We're going to begin in Los Angeles tonight with what may be the beginning of the end of an agonizing period for that city which has engrossed so much of the nation for the last 2.5 years. It is that long since the motorist Rodney King was beaten by L.A. policemen, which led to their trial, which led to the riots and the attacks on innocents caught in the maelstrom of South Central Los Angeles, which led to the arrest and trial of 2 black men whose trial is now over. Here's ABC's Brian Rooney.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes.
That was the end of it. Damian Williams smiled. Henry Watson was stone-faced while his mother wept. The videotaped evidence seemed overwhelming, and so did public opinion, but the defense turned it around.
Damian Williams was demonized by the prosecution and the press. And our first strategy was to humanize him.
On the question of attempted murder, Edie Fall put on a risky all-or-nothing defense. No compromise to manslaughter or assault.
Either he is guilty of attempted murder or he is not guilty of attempted murder. There is no middle ground whatsoever.
The strategy worked. Damian Williams escaped the possibility of life for attempted murder and aggravated mayhem. The jury did convict him on the lesser charge of simple mayhem, for which he faces as much as 10 years in prison.
So where the jury had an opportunity to compromise, it did. It found Mr. Williams guilty of simple mayhem. Where Edie Fall prevented the jury from making a compromise, it didn't compromise and it acquitted.
The prosecution thought it had a much stronger case.
I believed in our evidence with all my heart. And some of these verdicts are very difficult for me to comprehend.
Damian Williams was held for sentencing. Henry Watson, convicted only of misdemeanors, was released for time served and went home with his parents.
I'd like to go on and just live my life.
Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
As it was with the videotape beating of Rodney King at the hands of those Los Angeles police officers, the beating of truck driver Reginald Denny may have seemed an open and shut case to many viewers as millions of people watched the incident unfold live on television. Many have seen the same tape the jury saw, and still the jurors failed to convict on the most serious charges. Here's ABC's Judy Muller.
With such graphic videotape, as it was in the case of the Rodney King beating, how could a jury fail to throw the book at the defendants?
We're 0 for 2 in videotapes now. I'm not sure videotape helps at all.
Detective Art Datalow investigated the Denny beating.
What more can you present to the jury? Here's the man. Here's what he did. You don't have to draw much of an inference. It's right there in front of you.
But the prosecution had to prove intent. Did Williams plan to kill or disfigure Reginald Denny? Did Watson plan to help others rob trucker Larry Tarvin? While the videotape can help identify the suspects, it does not necessarily answer those questions.
It could not show what was going on inside of the defendant's head. The prosecution had to prove that the defendants coolly and in a deliberate manner intended to kill Reginald Denny.
But some in Los Angeles expressed frustration that the jury didn't see it their way. There's been frustration in phone calls flooding the DA's office.
I know the frustration, I know the anger, I know the fear that is in some of your hearts. We are in control.
There's been frustration on local radio shows.
You know, I think Reginald Denny should be brought up on charges of impeding the flight of a brick.
And there's been frustration on the streets.
We all saw the videotapes. We all know what happened. They pulled that guy out of the truck and totally almost killed him.
But as we've learned before, a videotape can create a case, but it cannot by itself convict. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In a moment, we'll go on to the other news. The president puts on a trade fair today to promote free trade with Canada and Mexico. On the American agenda tonight, the risks and the rewards of taking kidney transplants from living donors. And the football player who learns there is a price to be paid for family togetherness.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the fun ships of Carnival Cruise Line.
You know, a Carnival cruise is the best vacation value going. You can enjoy fun days at sea, fun-filled nights, fabulous food.
Oh, boy, you can say that again.
Great Scott. Willard, what are you doing out here?
Kathy, I'm having the time of my life.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Boy, I can't wait until the midnight buffet.
You think you'll have any room left?
What are you, a comic?
Every day should start with Quaker Oats.
Nothing cold can steam you up and help keep you rolling all morning like hot Quaker oatmeal.
Every day should feel this good.
Worried about your interview tomorrow?
Not if I could get some Z's.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast, so you can get your Z's. Nitol or Maximum Strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
At Camp Lejeune, North Carolina today, Marine Sergeant Justin Elzey finally got what he has been waiting for, orders to report back to work. Sergeant Elzey was taken off active duty last January when he revealed that he's gay. He went back to work today as the result of a recent court order barring the Pentagon from discriminating against homosexuals in the military. The Clinton administration is expected to appeal that particular order to the Supreme Court. With less than a month to go before a crucial up or down vote on the North American Free Trade Agreement in Congress, or NAFTA as it's called, President Clinton has been able to refocus his attention on the U.S. economy. The administration threw a NAFTA party today on the White House lawn. ABC's Britt Hume was there.
The president took a tour of a product fair set up on the White House grounds for U.S. companies eager to sell their goods in Mexico. It was a showcase not just for the North American Trade Agreement, but also for its recently recruited star salesman, Lee Iacocca.
What do you think, Lee? It's not a Chrysler, but it looks pretty good to me.
Good to me, too.
There were computers and jet engines and Washington State apples, all intended to help Mr. Clinton make a case he's had trouble getting across, that the U.S. produces all kinds of products that people in Mexico want. The trade agreement, he contends, will sharply increase U.S. sales to Mexico, creating many more jobs than it will cost.
We've got the facts on our side. They've got the fear on their side. We need to get the facts to the Congress in the faces of the people who will win from this agreement. And we have to do that.
Just a couple of blocks away, the AFL-CIO, which bitterly opposes the trade agreement, countered with a display not of products as much as of the people labor claims will be harmed by open trade with Mexico, like a communications worker whose job was relocated to Mexico.
This NAFTA is really a North American fraud and theft agreement. Fraud because it allows companies like AT&T to swindle America, and thieves because they strip workers of their right to earn a decent wage and living by sending their jobs south of the border.
Senior officials acknowledge the president is still well behind with only weeks to go before the vote in the House. They are trying feverishly to keep as many House Democrats as possible uncommitted in the face of the intense labor opposition. That may not sound like a winning strategy, but the history of these votes is that a president can usually win over the uncommitteds in the end, provided there are enough of them left. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
In contrast to the big public display at the White House on behalf of NAFTA, there was very little publicity today for another announcement. After nearly a year in office, the Clinton administration has officially outlined its anti-drug strategy in a Capitol Hill appearance by the president's chief advisor on drug policy. ABC's Beth Nissen tonight on what's in the plan and what appears to be missing.
It is a stark picture. After years of a declared drug war, there has been almost no change in the number of hardcore addicts. No change in crimes related to drugs, in families and neighborhoods ruined by drugs. The nation's new director of drug control policy says drug abuse is nothing less than a threat to national security.
People in America are being killed. We have to be as concerned about the loss of our lives in America just as we are about the concern of loss of lives by military people abroad.
The administration proposes a sharp change in direction. Less emphasis on expensive and so far futile efforts to stop drugs at the borders, more emphasis on drug education and drug treatment for the nation's 6 million hardcore addicts. But where will the money come from?
We're very concerned that the strategy does not lay out any substantial or even new funding for treatment and prevention.
Moreover, the administration is not suggesting any changes in the way its existing $13 billion anti-drug budget is spent. Most will still go to interrupt the drug supply. The proposed Clinton health care plan would offer guaranteed insurance for drug treatment, generally 30 days of hospital care. But the hardcore addicts, who cost the most to help, to police, to imprison, need at least a year of treatment to get drugs out of their systems. Dr. Mitch Rosenthal is president of Phoenix House, the largest residential treatment program in the country.
I think all of us who have seen this president as a domestic policy president, as a president who is passionate about health care reform, are deeply disappointed.
Disappointed because even the most welcome change in drug control strategy means little without a change in spending. Without that, the picture looks no less bleak. Beth Nissen, ABC News, New York.
There was a warning in Washington today to the television networks and the independent producers from the Attorney General, Janet Reno. Do something about reducing the violence in your programs, or the government may do it for you. Ms. Reno urged senators today to reconsider regulations on television violence if the industry doesn't act. She said such regulations would be constitutional. The paper industry has lost the battle with the White House. Today, President Clinton ordered all federal agencies to start buying a significant amount of recycled paper, which is more expensive for paper companies to produce. Environmental activists are happy. The U.S. government is the single largest purchaser of paper in the world. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up nearly 10 points to close at 36.45, and the trading was heavy. When we come back, the agony of a forgotten war.
From October 18th through 22nd, Tavis D, in cooperation with the American Lung Association, presents Breathe Easier America Week to promote better breathing for millions who suffer from sinus and nasal congestion. Call 1-800-TAVIS-D for a free brochure and valuable coupons.
It's Red Lobster's Big Combo. 4 great tastes, just $8.99. Or our Bigger Combo. 5 delicious seafoods. Or our Biggest Combo. 6 tempting tastes. Big, bigger, biggest combo starting at $8.99 only at Red Lobster.
They can't speak, but still, they can tell us a lot. At Lexus, we're using advanced crash dummies equipped with a dozen computerized sensors, all to learn more about what happens in an accident. We're rather proud of our dummies. The better the dummy, the better the car.
The good news, diets rich in antioxidants may benefit your long-term health. The bad news, the average diet is not rich in antioxidants. Today's news, Protegra, the new antioxidant supplement that's all antioxidants. More vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. Protegra, with more antioxidant support than you get from a regular multivitamin. To boost your antioxidant levels, even if you take a multivitamin, add Protegra to your daily routine. Protegra, the good news in antioxidants.
In Washington today, Haiti's deposed President Jean-Bertrand Aristide met with members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. They were testing the waters to see if there might be some room for compromise with Haiti's military rulers. Aristide is supposed to return to Haiti to take office again on October the 30th. But as ABC's Linda Batilla reports from Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, that is looking less and less likely.
Haiti's embattled prime minister said today he would resign if the military does not relinquish power.
If on October 30th President Aristide is not in Haiti, this is the end of my mission.
Robert Marval's departure could be a fatal blow to the already floundering UN effort to restore democracy here. The U.S. is counting on the international embargo on fuel and arms to pressure the military into stepping down. But the country has enough oil to last at least 6 weeks. Even then, it is estimated that Haiti's military has as much as 6 months of fuel in its private reserve. Enough of a stockpile so that opponents of ousted President Aristide may be able to scoff at the embargo.
Aristide will be in very serious trouble because we will not back down, we will not surrender.
The people more likely to be hurt by the oil embargo are Haiti's poor. International relief agencies deliver food to 600,000 Haitians a day, all of it delivered by truck.
If there is no fuel, there will be no deliveries. So the embargo will have a very deleterious and negative effect on our program.
The new U.S. ambassador here visited one of the capital's largest slums today to draw attention to U.S. aid programs that would bring millions of dollars if democracy is restored. Sanctions imposed last spring were widely credited with bringing the military to the negotiating table. This time, the military is expected to hold out, while the Haitian people bear the brunt of the international embargo. Linda Patillo, ABC News, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
The U.S. is backing off a bit in Somalia. The commander of U.S. forces there says that from now on, American troops are going to stay off the streets of Mogadishu. No more ground patrols. Their primary role will now be to protect other UN troops and their military compounds. There is a tremendous amount of suffering going on in Africa overall, particularly in the southern African nation of Angola, where the U.S. was at one time very much involved. Because the forces which the U.S. used to support would not abide by the results of a recent election, the civil war in Angola has intensified once again, and more people are dying every day in Angola as a result of war and hunger than any place else in the world. Here's ABC's Mike Lee.
For most, there is no medicine left to ease the pain. They are victims of Angola's forgotten war, an African crisis which has not attracted the kind of international attention focused on Somalia. Yet, in the past year alone, up to 100,000 Angolans have died. Many others have lost a hand, an arm, or a leg. Children have been blinded. Mothers dumbfounded with grief.
It's a country in agony that's dying, surviving, dying, surviving. It's a very long, long illness, and the illness is the war.
The Civil War has raged recently, but it dates to the mid-70s, when Angola won its independence. The Soviets supported a communist group, which later became the democratically elected government. The U.S. supplied the rebel UNITA movement, but has since withdrawn that support because UNITA is now trying to take by force what it could not earn at the polls. In the crossfire, Angolan civilians killed and wounded. Here, a woman screams that her two sons have been buried by a bomb blast. They were found alive and rescued with only minor injuries. Others stood no chance. Many Angolans are suffering from disease and malnutrition because supplies of medicine and food are cut off by rival armies. This pregnant woman could find no medical help when she went into labor. Her child did not survive. The U.S. is among the largest contributors of food supplies to Angola, but emergency flights are often shot at by America's former ally, UNITA. The UN warns that 3 million people could starve to death without food flights. But with no sign that the UN will send troops to Angola, the rival factions here are likely to keep fighting until one side wins. And Angolan civilians are expected to keep dying at the rate of 1,000 per day. Mike Lee, ABC News, London.
We'll be back in just a moment.
The American Impressions Collection from Ethan Allen. Just because you don't have a lot of money to throw around doesn't mean you have to live with disposable furniture. Right now, there's a sale going on at your local Ethan Allen.
Imagine a cold medication so effective, one tablet keeps symptoms from coming back a full 24 hours. Introducing Effidac 24, the first cold tablet for consistent 24-hour relief. Look, Sudafed drops off after 6 hours, Tavist after 12. So your symptoms keep coming back. But just one Effidac gives consistent relief for 24 hours. So your symptoms don't come back. New 24-hour Effidac keeps cold symptoms from coming back.
Meet Greg and Nancy Wagner. They love to cut loose.
Hey, come on.
Obviously, they got themselves a hot, fun-to-drive car.
We got a Pontiac Grand Am.
Exactly. A powerful new V6, sports suspension, a real blast.
Hey, the Grand Am also makes a lot of sense. Solid, got an airbag and anti-lock brakes, standard. Lots of room for the family. For thousands less than a quarter Camry.
So that fun Grand Am was also the smart car to buy? Can you beat that?
Nope.
We are driving excitement, Pontiac.
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes, restores free breathing fast when speed counts, so you're breathing easy in practically no time. Primatene Mist, fastest type asthma relief without a prescription. And for hours of relief, Primatene tablets with the asthma reliever doctors recommend.
We put kidney transplant on the American agenda tonight. Many people are going to die without one because there were not enough healthy kidneys to go around. But after many years of urging people to donate their kidneys when they die, people are still reluctant to do so. And so more than ever, doctors are looking to live volunteers. Our agenda reporter is George Strait.
Donald and Catherine Brand share a kind of intimacy unimagined by most couples. 4 months after they got married, Donald's kidneys stopped working. He needed a kidney transplant. Catherine said, "Take one of mine."
I never gave it a second thought. This is my husband. I would do it for my child. Why not my husband?
Well, it's pretty overwhelming to think of your spouse that already provides so many things for you, you know, as a friend and a lover and a moral support system and all these things, to then also become, give you a gift like this.
Sally Parsons was also overwhelmed when her friend and fellow nurse, Marilyn Meyer, volunteered to give her a kidney.
I had absolutely no feelings of anything except I think I would really like to do this.
Marilyn is an active person and is used to taking chances, but she knows there's little risk in donating a kidney because people can live normal lives with only one.
It's an adventure, but one with very positive feelings. It's helping someone that I care a lot about.
That adventure is part of a controversial experiment at the University of Minnesota to help relieve the nation's organ shortage by using live donors. Dr. John Najarian says he couldn't stand to watch so many of his patients die waiting for kidneys to become available.
There are 45,000 people dying each year of renal disease. Then the only thing left is to look at this other source.
This new source of organs has been saving lives in Minnesota so far with few complications. More than half of the 200 kidneys transplanted every year here come from friends and relatives. The practice also shortens the time people have to be on dialysis waiting for a transplant. Donald Brand faced 3 of 4 unpleasant years on dialysis.
I get the chills, I get the headaches, I get the feeling of being kind of run over by a Mack truck.
Despite the good results from Minnesota, many hospitals like Stony Brook here in New York shy away from the practice of using organs from living donors. They have several concerns: that it might encourage poor people to sell their organs, that it could put undue pressure on friends and relatives to donate organs, and doctors question the ethics of operating on people who are not sick.
What nags at me in the first place is taking a knife to a healthy person. I was brought up in a very conservative school of surgery where this is not considered nice. I understand the reasons why it's being done, but these are reasons born of desperation.
But hospitals that use living donors find the major complications are more emotional than physical. It took Sally and Marilyn 3 months of intensive counseling before they were comfortable with going ahead with the transplant. Donald and Catherine did a lot of soul-searching, too.
Sometimes in the middle of the night when we're both really talking about how frightened we are, you know, he'll just put his arms around me and just let me know how much he appreciates what I'm doing.
Best of luck. Last July, in adjoining operating rooms, the transplant began. After removing Catherine's left kidney, Dr. Najarian carried it next door, made sure it was all right, then sewed it into Donald.
Hold that, just right there.
Within seconds, Donald's new kidney was making urine.
Went beautifully. The kidney was fine.
After these operations, rejection is the biggest concern. Sally has had no problem so far, but Donald has not been so lucky. His body has just begun to reject the kidney Catherine gave him, and it is tearing him up emotionally, raising the kinds of issues critics fear.
It does make me fearful that, you know, that she's giving me this overwhelming gift that may not work out.
Using living donors is a physical and psychological gamble, a desperate measure which underscores America's desperate shortage of organs for transplant. This is George Strait for the American Agenda. We'll have more news in just a moment.
Ready? I think so. Snackwell's chocolate sandwich cookies, our newest way to cut the fat.
These taste unbelievable. I'm frightened. What if I can't bake enough of them, like with the devil's food cookies? Those women will be after me again.
Relax. Take home a box.
Hello, Cookie Man. What's in the box?
our newest way to cut the fat. Snackwell's chocolate sandwich cookies. Enjoy them with all the other varieties.
Thank you, precious.
Will we ever look forward to Mondays? What about mowing the lawn or going to the dentist? How about driving a station wagon? Will that ever be fun? Introducing the Volvo 850 Sports Wagon.
Organically grown alpine herbs blended with other natural ingredients. Ricola, natural herb cough drops from Switzerland.
Now you can battle time and the environment with the power of natural botanicals in Biolage Hydrating Shampoo. Until the world is a safer place for your hair, there's Biolage.
Biolage Hydrating Shampoo by Matrix.
For every week, there is a weekend. For every mortgage payment, there is a house you call home. And for every trip to the dry cleaners, the in-laws, or the pediatrician, there is now the 850 Sports Wagon from Volvo.
Tonight on Nightline, after a teen dies, Disney pulls a scene from its film. Who's to blame when kids decide to mimic a movie? Tonight.
Finally from us this evening, the high price of family leave in professional football. The Houston Oilers say they will not pay lineman David Williams for the game he missed last Sunday. That's $125,000 out of his yearly salary of $2 million. Williams missed the game to stay with his wife after she gave birth to their first child. Here's ABC's Dick Schaap.
Only the most rabid football fan had ever heard of David Williams, number 73, an offensive lineman, until the Houston Oilers made him famous.
We've had calls from Australia and London, just about everywhere, but David
now
Williams,
he is a cause celeb.
Number one, I agree with his decision to stay home with his wife. That's a personal opinion, but I agree with it.
Years from now, when the Houston fans have forgotten you ever played football from here in Houston, your wife won't forget what you did.
Like most of the callers to Houston sports shows, Williams himself has no doubt he did the right thing, staying in Houston, missing the Oilers game in New England Sunday.
I wouldn't have missed my first child being born for anything in the world, and this is my family, and family has always come first with me, and it always will, and I won't ever regret this.
David made a decision. I thought he should have been here.
The Oilers line coach, Bob Young, helped fuel the controversy by comparing a football game to World War II and suggesting Williams had let his teammates down. But the teammate who filled in for Williams disagreed.
The Oilers expect a commitment out of him 16 Sundays out of the year. But, you know, he married his wife and made a lifelong commitment to her, too.
New fathers, too, sided with Williams.
I think he should have definitely been there with his wife. The family is the most important thing.
Williams came to practice this week carrying cigars and a snapshot of his new son, Scott. Baby and mother are doing well, so is the father.
Congratulations.
In fact, everyone is doing well, except the Oilers, who have lost most of their games and many of their fans. Dick Schaap, ABC News.
And that's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Nightline later. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening and good night.
Wednesday on Mood Over